who were expected to
our own, see, understand.
I cannot. Sanskrit was certainly proposed. I think the solution is not that difficult. Again, the history surrounding the solution is a serious problem, because will this be accepted in certain parts of the southern states? I'm not sure of it. Will it be accepted in the northeast? I'm not sure of it. Will it be accepted in Kashmir? I'm not sure of it. Will it be accepted in Bengal as it stands today? I have no idea. Or will it be even accepted in Maharashtra as it stands today? I really have no idea. Okay? So, as far as I am concerned, none of these discussions are possible without addressing the central question of distortion of history. Because Sanskrit has now been given a certain racial connotation. It has been given a certain colonizing connotation. And we are much more comfortable accepting the language of the admitted colonizer, namely the British man. But we seem to be very uncomfortable accepting the language of the alleged colonizer, namely the so-called Aryan. Okay. So, I think unless and until we address the question of history and whether this particular language, see, there are two aspects. One is, of course, the question of self-esteem, pride. But the second question is a very serious and practical question of whether this is feasible. What is the economic cost? What is the cost of integration? How long will it take before we actually think of Sanskrit as not a dead language and as a language which is meant for transaction? That is a question which I'm not sure of. Because you see, at least other countries invested significantly in their education policy and language policy immediately after independence. Anybody who's read, and I've cited this example more than once, but let me repeat it for whatever it's worth. Hebrew was practically a dead language until the early 20th century. Until the Jewish Congress was set up, I think in 1897 by Theodor Herzl. And then they started thinking of creation of the state of Israel, namely the Jewish state, Der Judenstaat, that's what he said in his book. And they then started asking themselves, what shall be the common language? Because you see, by that time, for 2000 years, the Jewish community had lived as a diaspora in multiple countries. Somewhere in Russia, somewhere in Poland, somewhere in Germany, somewhere in Africa, Ethiopia, in all these places, Syria, Iraq. So the question was, if all these people come back, they have forgotten Hebrew, what is the common language that they shall speak in? So there was one madman called Yehuda ben Eliezer, who said Hebrew shall be the common language. And people branded him a crackpot during his life and time. But ultimately, when they set up their education system, they decided that Hebrew shall not only be revived, it shall be mainstreamed through the education policy. Okay. Ultimately, that madman proved to be the prophet, and he turned out to be right. Unfortunately, India still hasn't produced that one madman who can actually assert this and push it hard. Okay. Who says, no matter what, you guys can label me, you can call me whatever you want, but I am not changing my position one bit, and this is the only language that shall work. Because ultimately, history is not created by people who are agreeable. History is actually created by people who are disagreeable, who are intransigent, who say, मैं रास्ते से नहीं हटूंगा, जो करना है कर लो. Which means you will have to either kill me or you have to work around me.